Released by Mercury Steam in 2013 on the Nintendo 3DS, Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate would be an action-adventure hack-and-slash taking place between Lords of Shadow and Lords of Shadow 2. Written and directed by Jose Luis Marquez alongside Dave Cox, the game's story is told in reverse, but for this video will be told in chronological order. The story only gets larger from here, so let's cut it down to size with a recapitation. As the game begins, it's the year 1046, 1 year before the first Lords of Shadow game, when Gabriel Belmont would sleep with his wife Marie before leaving on a distant mission with Knights of the Order to slay a powerful demon lord. The monster puts up a fierce fight, but the Belmont uses his own blood to seal the beast, winning the battle. During his long trek away, Marie would come to bear a child, though would be visited by the old god Pan and wise men from the Order who show her a magic mirror revealing Gabriel's tragic fate, giving the child a mirror medallion. She learns her son Trevor and his lineage would be the only ones capable of beating him, so for the sake of humanity's survival, they inform her they will be taking the child to be raised in secret. 27 years pass and it's 1073 as Trevor Belmont has grown up, become one of the strongest warriors in the Brotherhood of Light, married a woman named Sypha, and had a son named Simon. However, one day the Brotherhood reveals to him that not only is he fated to fight the Prince of Darkness Dracula, but Dracula is actually his father Gabriel Belmont who killed Trevor's mother. Wishing to avenge his mother, protect his current family, and remove this stain on his family's name, Trevor accepts the mission to slay his father. Before embarking, he gives his son the mirror medallion he was given when he was a child, explaining it can show one their past and true fate. Unfortunately, it never showed him anything, but he passes it along, hoping it will be of use to Simon. Hugging his 6-year-old son one last time, Trevor then embraces Sypha, telling her if he doesn't return by dawn then don't look for him, and instead flee their home with Simon and hide in the forest. Combat cross in hand, the knight dashes into the castle keep of the Prince of Darkness, crushing the undead and powerful possessed armor in his way. Picking up a bladed boomerang, Trevor slices through vampire bats and defeats the gatekeeping executioner with ease. However, once he approaches the main entrance, a masked shadow comes out to greet him by name and tells him he cannot pass just yet, closing the door in his face. Unsure what just happened, an undeterred Trevor attempts an alternative route inside through the tunnels and hidden crypts underground. Descending into the dismal depths of a deadly dungeon, the Belmont is lured out by the Lady of the Crypt, beating down the enormous beast as it tries to burrow away. Clutching onto the insect with his cross, Trevor breaks off its lure and uses a chain to cleave the colossal creature, crashing into the castle entrance anyway. Running into the masked shadow again, it greets him graciously this time, telling him he is a guide here to make sure everything that happens tonight does so as it's supposed to. Trevor dismisses him and the guide steps aside, informing him his fate is sealed, he will fail in his mission, and his wife and son will suffer for it. In a tilted retort, Trevor smashes the shadow's jaw, silencing him, refusing to listen and advances while noting the mirror-like fragments of the mask. Passing by a familiar wargame room, Trevor learns of the Toymaker, Gandolfi's best pupil now in service to Dracula, as he climbs a treacherous clock tower and also discovers the tip of the vampire killer whip may actually be in the castle. After reading the last words of the Pirate King dynasty, some hunchbacks drop a bell on the Belmont as he hurries to dodge its path and avoid being turned into a sandwich. Though he is sent tumbling down, Trevor wakes to find a strange cube left behind for him by the masked shadow, finding it opens a pagan temple beyond a river of magma. Within is a circle of witches who release the demon lord once captured by Gabriel, who immediately breaks out on a warpath. Trevor latches along for the ride onward and upward, grounding the monster who sniffs out the Belmont bloodline as the knight finishes the fight his father started. The Toymaker looks on, amused, as Trevor rides some rails back to the main tower where he ascends a long stairway to a red door to confront Dracula. Dracula chuckles that he was meaning to visit the Brotherhood, recognizing the combat cross and producing an ice-cold blade called the Void Sword. Trevor and Dracula trade blows, but the Dark Lord is too strong, taking the combat cross from the knight and staking the knight through the chest with it instead. As Trevor lays dying in front of the Mirror of Fate, the masked shadow stands by as Trevor is shown his fate and is forced to accept things as they are. Looking towards his father, he laughs that all his life he fought so hard to defy his fate, yet Gabriel accepted it even when it meant losing his wife. Calling him father, Dracula is confused as Trevor points to the magic mirror and the vampire sees the truth Marie hid from him all this time. Panicking over yet another unintended murder of his family, Gabriel rushes to Trevor's side, desperate to save him now and feeding him some of his blood. Creating an ornate coffin for his son so he can recover, Dracula leaves to store the combat cross elsewhere, renaming his reborn son Alucard. 30 years pass and it's the year 1103 as Alucard wakes up but with no memory of who he is. He vaguely remembers the masked shadow who beckons to the mirror, which reveals the truth of who he is, and Alucard drops to his knees in anguish. Determined to challenge his father again, Alucard heads out after the shadow hands him a unique combat cross copy crafted by the toymaker called Dark Pain. At the same time, Simon Belmont is startled awake with a nightmare about how his mother Sypha died to a pack of lichens when he was a child. Raised by barbarians in the mountains, Simon displays his proficiency in combat, mastery of arms, and Scottish accent, passing through a cursed village and ridding it of its zombie infestation. Crossing through some caves on the way to Dracula's castle, Simon spots a strange masked shadow and finds forgotten ruins filled with hostile mermen. Simon catches up to the masked shadow, who is able to activate his mysterious mirror medallion and reveal where his father's combat cross is. The shadow confirms it is within the castle ahead, and Simon declares he is here to end the evil ruler and avenge the death of his parents. He soon finds and mishandles a relic that resonates with his latent magic ability, unlocking the protective spirit of his mother that shields her son with powerful warding magic. Working his way into the castle through the underground tunnels, Simon is spotted by the Night Watchman and his hungry Skavens, though after defeating his foe it mutates into something far larger and dangerous. Over with Alucard, he shakes off his rust by turning gargoyles to dust, though is met and mocked by the demon he killed, who is also revived and rebuilt by the Toymaker. Alucard is set on fire and flung aside, briefly spotted by Simon, and learns among his new powers is an affinity with bats, the ability to devour monsters, and assuming a healing mist form. Exploring the mines, Simon fends off relentless skeletal warriors, resorting to burning them with oil flasks he finds. Swimming through the submerged prison next, the warriors ambushed by hunchbacks and brought to the castle kitchen to be served up as the next meal. Escaping, he lands on stage in the theater, where he is forced to fight a mob of macabre puppets, while Alucard is shocked to see him. Quickly helping him from the shadows, Alucard saves the barbarian but escapes without saying a word. In disbelief, the masked shadow appears to confirm the warrior is his son Simon, and Alucard wonders why he is here too. Wondering who his dark benefactor was, Simon follows the masked shadow as it leads him to the library, where he locates his father's hidden combat cross. However, a necromancer quickly snatches it away, claiming his master Zobek wants this weapon, and spits out that Trevor Belmont was never worthy. Shoving Simon out of a stained glass window, the necromancer corners the barbarian in the courtyard, also stealing away his mother's spirit. Ripping apart the mage with his bare hands, Simon reclaims the spirit of Belnades and his father Trevor's combat cross. The barbarian also encounters another wandering soul, this time of a fallen crossbowman named Schneider, that is soothed by the spirit of Belnades and joins Simon to provide covering fire. Meanwhile, Trevor encounters what the Watchman changed into, halting the ravenous Reaver's rampage, ripping and tearing it apart, sending it tumbling down to its doom. Unleashing a powerful wolf form transformation, Alucard investigates the Toymaker's workshop and factory, discovering a relic that can slow time and seeing Simon in dire straits again. Trapped in a Toymaker's carousel, Simon dodges the facades of various iconic mini-bosses as he notices Alucard helping him and saving his life once again. Alucard doesn't wish to reveal himself just yet, unaware Dracula is watching both of them, but recognizes his combat cross, asking Simon how his mother died. Simon replies that his father came to this castle years ago when he was a child but failed to destroy the evil within. In retaliation, the Dark Lord attacked the Brotherhood's stronghold with his army, massacring everyone, including his mother who died to save him. Wondering how the stranger knew his father, Alucard makes a quick exit while assuring Simon he will not be alone when he faces the Dark Lord. Alucard stumbles upon a resurrection chamber where the Toymaker reassembled the Demon Lord Abomination, ready for the rematch as he edges out a win this time, consuming a portion of him and gaining new wings as a result. Vampire spawn crowd the hallway to the throne and slow him down, but Alucard forces his way through to open the throne room door. Arriving first, Simon staves off the seductive advances of a succubus, shattering her salacious illusions, revealing the throne room he stands in. Simon turns to challenge the Dark Lord, but Dracula laughs, saying the combat cross he wields is just as powerless as the barbarian is, but just then Alucard steps in. Simon is surprised to see Alucard's face for the first time, unaware of who he is and his role during this unusual family reunion. Dracula appeals to Alucard, hoping they can stand together and have him understand why he wanted to destroy the Brotherhood that sacrificed him and his family. However, Alucard refuses to remake the world with him, resenting how he was remade into a monster himself. Declaring the Belmont bloodline must end now, Dracula attacks the pair, bearing a whip of his own as he fights his son and grandson. Knocking Simon out, Dracula curses him with darkness, controlling him and forcing him to attack Alucard, who refuses to harm his son, instead lifting the curse by absorbing the darkness into himself. Alucard then manages to get behind Dracula and pin him down long enough for Simon to use Trevor's combat cross to strike the decisive blow. Quickly, Dracula crumbles to dust at the fatal blow, but Alucard shakes his head, saying this is not how a vampire is supposed to die and it almost seemed too easy. Suddenly, the masked shadow appears again, asking for the mirror medallion on Simon's neck, and though Simon initially refuses, Alucard says there is no point in trying to resist fate as he's tried his whole life. Simon surrenders the necklace and now asks Alucard who he really is, and though Alucard reaches out to gently touch Simon's face, he walks away, keeping the truth to himself. Alucard spots the hidden tip of vampire killer left behind after Gabriel's fight with Carmilla, quickly turning into a bat and escaping the castle collapse. As the sun rises on a new day, Simon looks on as Castlevania crumbles, saying farewell to mark the end of his quest. Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate has enjoyed the success of selling over 160,000 copies worldwide. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next battlefield.